Welcome to this Massachusetts Innovation Career Pathways webinar, welcoming new designees. We will wait another minute or two and then begin our workshop. My name is Annie Leonard, and I'm the Director of Programming at the Center for Collaborative Education. I'm the lead on the Innovation Career Pathways project there. CCE is proud to partner with DESE in supporting the Innovation Career Pathways community of practice, and especially proud today when we are welcoming and celebrating newly designated pathways joining our network. So as we get started, we want to make some introductions and give you some information that should assist you during the workshop today. First of all, we want you to know that closed captioning is available for the workshop, and if you want to turn it on, just follow the instructions that are currently on the slide. You can use Otter to access closed captioning. And you've also received a message indicating that this webinar is being recorded. We do try to record our webinars and workshops, and then we post them on our MAICP website within a couple of days after each event, so that folks who are not able to join live, especially at a busy time of the year like right now, those folks will be able to access the recording on our website. And if you have team members or reason to go back to the recording or the workshop resources yourself, you'll be able to find them on our website as well. So on to some introductions, and speaking of technical support, I want to introduce my CCE colleague, Allison, who is here to try to meet any needs that you have. If you have any technical difficulties or accessibility difficulties during the workshop, please feel free to message her in the chat, and she will do her best to help you out. Also on our team today, we have folks from DESE, and I want to start by passing the mic to my colleague Jennifer Guatkin to introduce herself and other DESE folks joining today's workshop.
Thank you, Annie. Hopefully everybody can hear me okay. I'm the queen, as we established before this workshop, the queen of audio issues. But great to see so many of you here today. I know that throughout the designation process, we've had lots of points to intersect, and we're here to celebrate your marvelous accomplishments. It's a lengthy process, but one that you each soldiered through. So congratulations to each of you. And we look forward to lots of great stuff as you begin your program implementation. I'd like to pass the mic over to Latoya to introduce herself.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Latoya Tavernier. I am a liaison in the Office of College, Career, and Technical Education. I work closely with Jennifer on Innovation Career Pathways, and I just want to say welcome to all of our new designees. It's just so amazing to see this community grow, and I'm so happy that you're here today. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to me or Jennifer on the DESE side, and of course, Annie and Allison on the CCE side. So very happy to be here.
And of course, we have our Associate Commissioner Elizabeth Bennett here, but we'll give her a more formal introduction. I'm looking through the participant list to see if there are other DESE people to shout out. Some folks from our team usually join. I think it's Joe Wyman here. He's here from DESE. Some of you have worked with him. He's a liaison as well from the Office for College, Career, and Technical Education. Scrolling through to see, not sure that anybody else is here from our office, but if anybody else is here, feel free to say hello in the chat. I'm glad that you're able to join us.
And also I would like to give a shout out to some of the current and past peer ambassadors who are joining us today. I haven't had a chance to scroll through the list to see who's actually made it into the room, but I know some of them are out there, and I know that the peer ambassadors provided tremendous support for schools in the application process this year. We are so fortunate to get to work with a great cohort of peer ambassadors each year as part of the support that we provide for the community of practice. So thank you, past and present peer ambassadors and future peer ambassadors may also be in the room today. So as we dive in, speaking of who's in the room, we would love to know who's here, and you're welcome to introduce yourself with your name and the school or district that you're affiliated with and your newly designated pathways. And you can pop something into the chat. We do our best to monitor the chat throughout the workshop, and there will be a point later on where we'll invite you to use the chat for some Q&A as well. So while we are going through our workshop content today, if you have questions, we encourage you to track them or just stick them right into the chat, and we'll try to come back to them when we get to the Q&A portion of our workshop agenda. Our goals for today, in support of those of you who have newly designated pathways, whether you are a school and district that is brand new with your first designation, or from a school that has come back for more and is extending your work into a new industry sector, we want to help you explore policies, systems, and marketing next steps that you may want to take as you prepare to implement your pathway programming in the coming fall. This will involve giving you a chance to learn from some peers in the network on how they have planned and prioritized tasks for pathway program launch. I will introduce those special guest presenters a little bit later on. And as Jennifer mentioned, we really do want to celebrate the growth of our network. We'll be giving you some information about how our network has grown, and giving you some opportunities to build your connections within our community of practice. So our agenda is going to include remarks from Associate Commissioner Bennett, a quick review of the growth and the current impact of innovation career pathways in Massachusetts. And then we'll turn our attention to priority next steps for designees, and that will be with the help of our guest presenters from Lenox Memorial High School and Mass Higher Berkshire. We always wrap up by highlighting upcoming events and inviting you to give feedback on the workshop. But today we also have a special element of our workshop closing, which will be unveiling the relaunched MAICP website. So that's to come at the end of the workshop. But at this time, I want to pass back to Jennifer Gwatkin to introduce Associate Commissioner Bennett.
Great, thank you. Earlier, I couldn't resist giving a little soft introduction, but we are grateful today to have our leader for the Office for College, Career, and Technical Education, Associate Commissioner Elizabeth Bennett. So welcome, Liz. Glad that you're able to be here to join us for this. And Liz is going to present some remarks.
Great, thanks, Jennifer. First, I'd like to say congratulations to all our new designees. It's so exciting to see our pathways growing and growing at the scale and rate that they are growing. And I also want to thank our team, Jennifer and our liaisons, for all the work that you've done to support schools through the designation process too. So thank you to you. I wanted to talk a little bit about what's happening on the national front and at the state level, and how our work with Innovation Career Pathways really ties into that work and is aligned to the work that we're seeing. Just a few weeks ago, out in West Springfield, we were lucky enough to have a visit from Secretary Cardona from USD, the United States Department of Education, where he shared the Unlocking Career Success Initiative that really reimagines how high schools are preparing all students to thrive in their future careers. Everything I talk about is aligned to the work that we're doing in Innovation Career Pathways. Everything that he talked about is aligned to that work. This initiative, it blurs the lines between high school, college, and careers, providing students with accelerated and innovative opportunities to earn college credits, to have career exploration experiences, and to gain real-world professional experiences. So when we think about this Unlocking Career Success Initiative, when we think about what we're doing at the state level, with Innovation Career Pathways. Again, we see that real direct alignment. That's at the national level. At the state level, DESE has really been engaged in developing and implementing a DESE statewide educational vision. And part of this vision is a place where students are known and valued, learning experiences are relevant, real world and interactive. Again, thinking about that in the ties to the work we do with Innovation Career Pathways. And individual supports are available to enable students to exceed at grade level and beyond. So how are we doing this? We're making sure that our students are able to think about where they may want to go after they graduate from high school. They have the coursework to prepare them for life after high school. And then they had this opportunity to try and explore in what could be their future careers. So again, really aligned to our state vision and DESE's educational vision. Again, so putting it into action, as you all know, Innovation Career Pathways is the place where we can provide students with that coursework that's going to weave their academic and technical knowledge together into relevant real-world learning and employer-engaged opportunities too. We're here to support you through the process. We're really excited that you have been with us through the designation process, and now the real work begins of working with students as they start entering into their pathways work. Again, I want to thank you for being here today, for being part of the process. And again, I want to thank my team for all the work that they did to get us here. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Associate Commissioner Bennett. It's really an honor to have you with us, and I think important for this audience to hear the support from the state level for this work. We're often so deeply embedded in our local and increasingly regional conversations about initiating and scaling up innovation career pathways. But of course, we wouldn't be here without the vision and support from the state. And it's an exciting time in Massachusetts for college and career readiness. There's so much good energy. So we really appreciate you being here with us today. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So we want to talk, as I said, a little bit about where we are as an initiative statewide. And we can begin by reminding everyone that the initiative is focused on connecting student learning to broadly defined industry sectors. 5 that have been with us from the beginning, and this year the pilot designations in the clean energy sector. So these are industry sectors in demand in our regional and state economy, and they offer ways to connect students to relevant post-secondary education, training, and career opportunities. So to talk a little bit more about where we have reached in our network's growth, I'm going to pass back to Jennifer.
Great. Thank you so much, Annie. So our current landscape and our reach, back in 2017, 2018, when we launched the designation process, we started out with really a handful of schools going through the process. I think Mike Rubin is here. I just wanted to shout him out because he was in the first cohort and he was a peer ambassador. But would you believe that today, or this cycle, we had 36 applicants go through the process? 36, and 22 of them were brand new to Innovation Career Pathways. And you probably heard in the press release that I sent along from the governor's office that we're now in 25% of high schools. That is just remarkable to think that we started out with just a handful of brave souls, and now here we are today celebrating what is truly a milestone. We now have 228 pathways that are designated in 97 schools across the Commonwealth. And with you folks enrolling new students in the fall 2024, we'll have over 8,000 students in Innovation Career Pathways, which is also a plug for you to do your coding correctly in the fall. We'll talk about that at a later date, but you know, how you make sure that your students are counted for for purposes of Innovation Career Pathways counts. But super, super exciting. And I believe on the next slide, you'll see the pathway designations by industry sector. We still have advanced manufacturing in the lead with 53 pathways, healthcare and social assistance close on its heels at 47. We had a huge uptick this cycle in business and finance applications and in information applications. And then we have 5 schools who are in the pilot for clean energy. Really excited that as of now, we have all 16 Mass Hire workforce boards involved in the work with Innovation Career Pathways, which is huge. We're all over the place. And I don't think, Annie, we didn't put the slide in where we show the pin drops. We're going to have something exciting, I think, visually on the horizon that shows where exactly schools are. But it is really, really impressive to see that map covered in red dots.
It really is. We're looking forward to being able to share a data visualization that gives us all a chance to see how the network has grown over time, how the distribution of industry sectors looks across the state. That really does make a compelling image of how the network has grown. So for those of you who are newly designated, after taking a pause to celebrate that success, we know that you are already in your minds thinking about planning for the 24-25 school year and what your priority areas are making those plans. So over the years of the partnership between CCE and DESE supporting innovation career pathways, we have tried to glean recommended priority areas from the school teams and their employer and Mass Hire workforce board partners to help you have some broad areas to keep in mind as you are listening to our guest presenters today. So I just want to briefly review these. They include starting with the why, so really centering your work around your vision. Pathways align with your school or district mission or vision or portrait of a graduate. Making that connection is super important as you guide your own strategic planning within your small team, but also as you build understanding and buy-in for pathways in your school and in your community. This is also a time where we advise thinking about how to grow your team. Sometimes pathways get started with one person or just a couple of champions, but it's important to grow the team so that there are educators, students, partner organizations who are supporters and are knowledgeable about your pathways and really can become the ambassadors for pathway programming in the school and in the community. Even from the beginning, it's important to be thinking about metrics and how you want to assess progress toward the goals that you've set for your first year of designation, whether that's in terms of numbers of students, but also thinking about student experience, educator experience, employer partner experience, and how you want to track your progress toward your goals. So it's always helpful to have a plan for that year to help these various tasks stay on track. Some of our expert practitioners recommend monthly and some recommend quarterly plans and meeting schedules to make sure that the high priority tasks are moving ahead and that the workload is shared across a team. And also we recommend what we call safe to fail pilots. And that is knowing that however detailed your planning process was during the application cycle, there are going to be opportunities to try things out and situations that come up that weren't anticipated during the planning process. And we really encourage you to think about how you can take those opportunities as learning opportunities to refine and improve your program elements, whether those are the enhanced student supports that you're providing to support equity of access and experience in your pathways, or job shadows or other kinds of work-based learning. So those are just some big picture advice, and I hope that sets up well the presentation that is going to start as I introduce our guests, Heather Shogri Williams, who is the Youth Program Director at the MassHire Berkshire Workforce Board, and Tara Romeo, who is the Guidance Department Chair at Lenox Memorial High School. And I will start it off with Heather. Thank you so much for being here, Heather and Tara.
Thank you so much, Annie. We're so happy to be here today to share some of our collaborative best practices with implementing our innovation pathways at Lenox and some of our other designated school districts. And I just want to take a moment to say hello to everybody and congratulate all of you on your designations of your pathways. It's certainly no small feat, but it's very exciting that you now have the designation. And you know, we're just so happy to be here today to talk about our pathways and see if there's some ideas and resources and things that we can share with you to help you move your pathways along. So I thought it would be... Oh.
Heather, I just want to interject briefly. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I saw that Allison put the link for MassHire Board contacts into the chat. We know that the folks here are likely already well connected with a MassHire partner, but if you need that information or you're curious to see what the Massachusetts landscape looks like for MassHire, you can find the link in the chat now.
That's great. Thank you. So I thought it would be helpful to set the stage by highlighting our innovation pathway and career readiness landscape out here in the Berkshires. We currently have 11 designated pathways, with 2 of these pathways recently designated through our colleagues' hard work and dedication at Pittsfield High School. And I know I saw some of our friends from Pittsfield High on the call. The pictures on the slide are from their Finance and Digital Communications Employer Partner meeting that we had in January. So being that the workforce boards are required partners with innovation pathway coordination and implementation, I work through our existing connecting activities models in our school districts and getting these pathways off the ground. Next slide, please. So in Berkshire County, our connecting activities system has been established to make sure that all career readiness related programs and activities within our partnering school districts fall under the connecting activities umbrella. And it took some time to establish this. I've been in my role at the Workforce Board for 18 years now, but setting up our system up this way really serves to ensure that none of our career readiness related programs and activities are siloed and or are duplicating efforts. So we provide the regional oversight and programmatic and financial resources that we receive from DESE for our district's connecting activities models. And this allows for the districts to have established career readiness coordinators like Tara. And it also allows our districts to have established college and career teams that are really serving to build district-wide post-secondary and career planning, or MyCap systems, serving all students. And within this system houses our district's career awareness, exploration, and immersion programs, all of our pathway programming, employer engagement activities, and also professional development opportunities that really ensures all school-based staff are involved in career readiness integration. Next slide, please. So filtering the development and the coordination and implementation of our innovation pathway models through our existing connecting activity system has really allowed our school districts the opportunity to easily meet or find solutions for many of the innovation pathway requirements around credentialing, post-secondary connections, MyCap integration, et cetera. So Tara and I would like to walk through each of the areas presented here on the slide to provide you with some examples of what we are doing to meet these requirements and how MassHire can provide really a tremendous amount of support in these areas. So the first area that we'd like to highlight is connections to employers for training and credentialing opportunities for students in your pathway. We as employees of MassHire Workforce Boards are required to keep our fingers on the pulse of our critical industry sectors in our regions, really to make sure that we're helping them with their short and long-term workforce needs. So we receive training dollars from the state on an annual basis to make sure that we are creating workforce training programs for our most critical sectors to fill their pipelines with skilled workers. So I highly encourage you, if you haven't already, to connect with your workforce board to inquire on those training programs and to see if there are opportunities to connect the students in your pathways to those programs. So I'm now going to turn it over to Tara to highlight how our existing certified nursing assistant and medical assistant training programs have benefited students in Lennox's healthcare and social assistance pathway. So take it away, Tara.
Great, thank you. Even kind of before the CNA and our new programs, I do want to mention just first in the simplest of ways, connecting with MassHire has benefited our school dramatically, just simply by the day-to-day email and information that just naturally gets delivered to my inbox. That is where I learned about like CNA and other opportunities. So just, I don't know how involved people already are connected with their workforce board, but for us, just getting the weekly emails, I look quickly, the ones just in the last week or two were, PD opportunities, a CDL permit class, definitely CNA or PCA, workshops, job fairs, like all of that without even doing any effort, they just land on your desk, and then you can just push them out to students and colleagues and so on. Definitely the highlight for us in the past year or two, working specifically with Innovation Career Pathways, was our healthcare pathway, where really I have to give Heather and Kat and MassHire all the credit for sort of bringing the CNA to life. And we're doing CNA program and a medical assisting program, which is the only medical assisting, I believe, is the only one in the county. So we're kind of piloting, and this was a true partnership with MassHire, where really they were doing lots of research and looking up programming, and we were like talking with students and administrators and trying together to create this program. And it has been immensely, it's been received so well, and it's become a really successful program that's growing and growing. Next year, we already have 12 students that are looking to do the medical assisting. And what's really exciting about a lot of this is not only does MassHire offer these resources and information, they're so widely networked in the county that if we're looking for placements or internships or more information, if they don't know already the answer, they usually have it back to us. They found it, they know where to look. So it's, everyone in education's pretty busy. So to have a resource like Heather and Kat and the folks over at MassHire is, for us, invaluable. The only other thing I would add, and you mentioned already, Heather, is often some of these opportunities come with funding. So not all schools have that funding. So for our CNA training, I was scrambling, trying to get funding to pay for this kids to go to the training, which is a couple weeks long. And Heather miraculously, finds her funding and puts it together. So there have been a lot of opportunities for us because of the funding that's been made available to us to get our students in these really valuable, enriching training programs, which will lead to hopefully jobs or their track to college and their next, their higher education. So,
Sarah?
If there's anything else you want to add to that, Heather?
We're going to be discussing, more and more as we go here through the slide. But the next area where your MassHire board can be helpful pertains to connections to your region's post-secondary institutions and their courses and programs. So MassHire workforce boards have post-secondary representatives on their boards, and they partner with MassHire on our training programs, among other collaborations. So if you're having some challenges with developing dual enrollment opportunities or finding connections to post-secondary programs for students in your pathway, reach out to your MassHire board to help make those connections. I'm going to turn it over to Tara once again, just to highlight one situation with their healthcare pathway where the MassHire and post-secondary connection really helped to alleviate their dual enrollment issue. So I'll pass the mic back over to you, Tara.
Thank you. So what happened with us is exactly what you just said. We ran into some challenging situations. We had in our mind this one course at our local community college, which we wanted our students to be able to do as a dual enrollment concurrent course, meaning we would teach that course ideally here in the building, get college credit. It tracked right into their their LPN program. It had a lot of benefits. It had our technical requirement met. And we have a teacher who actually had done, we'll talk later about an externship around the course. And surprisingly, we were denied. So we were like really stumped. We're like, what now? You know, and again, reach out to Heather, and she has this network of these colleagues in local higher education, local, just various, actually a variety of folks came together through Heather, through MassHire, and with a little bit of conversation, a little bit of collaboration, we were able to get approved. And that was pretty big for us because it was a big obstacle. We weren't quite, it really kind of was sort of what we needed. It was central to our program. So that alone really, really made an enormous difference in our healthcare pathway.
Thanks, Tara. And our post-secondary partners, you know, have been wonderful with our training programs as well, and you know, making sure that they're involved, you know, with the high schools, sending students to those training programs as well. So another vital connection that your MassHire Workforce Board can provide is connections to your region's career center that can support really an array of services for students in your pathway. These services include opportunities to participate in their state subsidized YouthWorks programming that serves low-income youth, that can provide career exploration and immersion opportunities for students. And the career centers can also provide your students with career-related workshops, connections to employment opportunities, supports with any social personal needs your students may have, funding toward training and credentialing opportunities if they're eligible, etc. So if you haven't connected with your region's career centers already, I really encourage you to do so because they can provide a wealth of resources and supports to students in your pathways and really, you know, all of the students that you work with. And your MassHire board can certainly help you with making that connection. You can also work with your MassHire board to connect you and your colleagues to professional development opportunities to enhance your employer connections. And Tara just touched on this a bit. We have done this through teacher externship opportunities that has served to connect our school staff that are leading our region's innovation pathways to local employers that has resulted in aligned pathway curriculum to current industry skill sets. It's created paid internship opportunities for students in our pathways, and it really has allowed for enhanced career exploration opportunities. The young woman in the purple jacket scooping mulch into the bucket, that's Lindsay McGinnis. She runs our designated environmental innovation pathway at Hoosick Valley. And she did a teacher externship in collaboration with Red Shirt Farm. And now Red Shirt Farm is a partner employer in the pathway, and every year provides employer paid internship opportunities to Lindsay's students, which we're really, really excited about. We have many other examples of externships that we can certainly share. Tara's colleague did an externship with Miraval Resort in the summer of 2021 in preparation for their business finance launch, business finance pathway launch, I should say. We do provide a stipend to our teacher externs using our Connecting Activities dollars because it is enhancing our school's employer engagement for their career readiness and pathway models. And I'll turn it over to Tara once again to highlight another one of their externships that supported their healthcare pathway that she hinted to a few minutes ago.
Right. And I have to give you the credit, Heather. It was, Heather came to us knowing we were trying to put together a healthcare pathway and said, we have these externship opportunities. And we did have a teacher who was on board and was really interested in getting involved with the pathway. So she did do 50-hour internship over the summer. Heather had the connection with our local hospital, and this teacher was able to cycle through almost every major department in the hospital and actually do hands-on work with them. So she came back extremely excited. She had tons of information to share with students. We built in a lot of what she learned into the program in terms of the healthcare programming. And again, she got the stipend, which was nice. And I think there was college credit from what I recall, graduate credit, if you wanted. So it was really like a win-win-win all around. And then the people she met while doing her externship, those were connections that were made there. So different departments, we now have these contact people that we didn't have before. I've done externship myself, and I come back always amazed at what I've learned, and you right away apply it to your students. Like you're like, oh, that student wants to do industrial art, and didn't really now I have a good example, like what does that look like in a career? So it's really invaluable. I can't say enough about externships.
Mm-hmm. And as a result of that externship that Tara is referencing, it helped MassHire have a deeper collaboration and partnership with Berkshire Health Systems, which connected us to their medical assisting program on a deeper level, which helped to facilitate the medical assistant program at Lenox. And it's going so well at Lenox, and as Tara referenced, they have 12 students signed up for next year. 2 of our other school districts that have designated healthcare pathways, Monument Mountain and Hoosick Valley, they're interested in launching a medical assistant program in collaboration with the National Healthcare Association as well. So that program will grow as a result of externships and fostering deeper collaborations with our healthcare partners, which is really exciting. Another benefit of connecting with your MassHire board pertains to your schools and districts, MyCap, or college and career planning system or career readiness models that you have in place that you can work through to connect your students to internships and career readiness opportunities within your pathways. If your school does have a system in place or it's being built, MassHire should be involved in this process and can connect you to those at your school or district who are managing this. And of course, this serves to enhance collaboration and prevent siloing of career readiness related programming. And if your school or district doesn't have a career readiness model or solid MyCap system or isn't connected to MassHire already with connecting activities, you reaching out to MassHire for support with your pathways can serve as a great needed catalyst in getting your school connected to MassHire and connecting activities that will benefit all students in your district. So once again, I'm going to turn it over to Tara just to briefly highlight how the MyCap system she and her college and career team is building directly benefits students in their innovation pathway models.
Yeah. Thank you. We, through connecting activities, we had we're doing many aspects of MyCap. We just hadn't formalized it or identified it as such. But we started, working with Heather and with a team here, started to look at what we had and identify the gaps. So actually the innovation pathways, the structure of it was really helpful to us because then it broke down each sort of piece very specifically in MyCap what we needed. And for us, we found we had a gap in our mind in the SEL area and also just in tracking. Like we didn't have a really nice way to say like these students in the pathway did or didn't do anything. So for us, what we decided to do is part of our pathways program is a course called Strategies for Success. And within our team, we took all of the MyCap aspects of it and built it into like a big spreadsheet that now we, as a group with teachers, with our SAC and our office, we track all the different sort of benchmarks that we need to meet under MyCap. And what was really exciting for us is, again, this SEL piece was tricky. We were trying to figure out how to implement it not just, we're certainly targeting pathways, but also just, it's really benefit to all students, right? So Heather met with our SAC, Heather and a colleague met with our SAC to talk about all the different ways and all the different resources that they knew of for her to implement this at our school. And she said she came back with a great deal of information, went through it, and then she decided to use what she had learned and implement that in the classroom. So, not that she couldn't have researched it all by herself and spent a lot of time putting it together, but it was so helpful, she said, to sit down and just discuss it, talk about our school specifically. Heather and Kat were like sharing all these different options, and it was really helpful. And so just now we're actually implementing it in those classrooms. So, again, she's using the Signal Success Program, which again is part of DESE. So she may have eventually found it on her own, but it was so easy to streamline it this way, and just to have the resource available to us, it made a big difference. And so now we do feel pretty solid in the SEL front. So we feel like that piece of MyCap, we are now finally feeling like we're doing what we need to do. And that, again, it was a collaboration between our school and MassHire and putting it all together.
Great. Thank you. And lastly, MassHire can provide you with connections to other school districts in your region to learn more about Innovation Pathway best practices and share resources and ideas. Our friends at Pittsfield High School last year visited our friends at Monument Mountain, who were one of the first districts to receive Innovation Pathway designation in our region. And our schools are great with sharing their ideas and what they are doing in their Innovation Pathway program, so others just don't have to reinvent the wheel. That's what we're all about. And Tara and her colleagues at Lennox have been wonderful in sharing resources and best practices with other districts in our region that are looking to implement Innovation Pathway programming. These are, many of the things that your MassHire board can assist you with moving your pathway programming forward. We're ahead of schedule. Annie, is it okay if we pause at this time to take some questions before we close out the presentation?
Absolutely, yes. And I want to invite everybody to reflect a little bit on everything that you've heard. We've got a question in the chat from Jennifer, which I think is a helpful acronym translation in case folks don't know what a SAC is. Student Assistance Counselor?
School Adjustment Counselor.
School Adjustment Counselor.
Yep.
So thank you for that question, Jennifer. And while folks are thinking about the questions that they want to ask in follow-up to your presentation, and I just invite folks to put your questions into the chat and we will read them from there. First of all, just thank you both so much for your thoughtful presentation. We knew that we were going to hear about a really exemplary partnership between a MassHire workforce board and not just one school, but in the region. And I think that exemplary partnership really is saying something about where we are as an initiative statewide as the number of schools participating increases. There's really the potential for competition to arise amongst schools. When we think about limited resources for employer partnerships, and in a variety of ways, the model that you're sharing really says it doesn't have to be like that. It can be collaborative, and actually we can all help bring about these opportunities for more students through collaboration, and really elevate the outcomes for students and the experiences of everybody working on this by collaborating. So I just wanted to thank you so much for highlighting the importance of that kind of exemplary collaboration in the Berkshires. Lots of good energy in innovation career pathways there. So there is a question in the chat about connecting activities, and Jennifer has provided the link to connecting activities, but maybe you could say a little bit more about connecting activities now.
Sure. So Connecting Activities is the state initiative through DESE that drives our career readiness work. So it is a line item in the state budget every year. Once it is passed, those monies flow to DESE, and from there, DESE provides those resources to all of the workforce boards in the state. And with those resources, it is our obligation to make sure that we are partnering with all of our public school districts. And we're very fortunate in Berkshire County. We do have longstanding partnerships with our 11 public school districts in the region to make sure that our school districts have viable, expansive, and sustainable career readiness models. Ensuring that all students have the necessary exposure to career awareness, exploration, and immersion opportunities prior to graduating from high school. So the majority of those funds are utilized to make sure that there are career readiness coordinators like Tara in all of the school districts. And it looks a little different in each region. But the way we have it set up is we provide resources to the school districts. The school districts from there provide those resources to an established career readiness coordinator or coordinators. And for the past 2 years, we've also been providing these resources to the school districts to also make sure that there are sustainable college and career teams. So this team supports the career readiness coordinators in making sure that viable post-secondary and career planning systems are being built and are being sustained to make sure that every student graduates with a solid college and career plan. So when you hear Connecting Activities, it's the state initiative that drives the career readiness work for the Commonwealth.
So Heather, it's like you're reading the mind of the chat, because there's a question posted about the career readiness coordinator role, whether that is a stipend position, how it works, and maybe you could say a little more about the teams as well, so that folks can understand how that model works in the Berkshires.
Sure, yeah. So the Workforce Board, we contract with the school districts on an annual basis to provide them with Connecting Activities resources, to provide a stipend to the career readiness coordinator or coordinators, but also provide stipends to members of the college and career teams. We are mandated by the state to make sure that at least 70% of our Connecting Activities dollars are utilized in that capacity, stipends for staff to make sure that they are managing their school district's career readiness models. And then the remaining portion of funding, around 30% or so, can be utilized for other things, such as a lot of our school districts, as of recent, have asked, can we utilize this funding to help offset costs for driver's ed? So our, students can get to their internships, get their licenses, and be able to have viable transportation to get to work and back. They can also utilize the resources for supplies and materials in managing their career readiness models. A lot of times our school districts will utilize this funding for, supplies for career fairs, or, materials for students if they're doing some lead up work in an English class, before they go off and do a job shadowing opportunity, things of that nature. So the majority of the resources that we contract with our schools on are to be utilized for stipends for team members and career readiness coordinators, and minimal amount of funding, up to 30%, used for supplies, materials, transportation costs, etc.
So if there's a school-based person in the audience who is wondering, who's thinking, I don't know how Connecting Activities funds are being utilized in my area, what advice would you give them about where to start to find out about that?
Contact your MassHire board. And I am more than happy to help point you in the right direction of who that person is. You can reach out to Tara or I anytime. We'll put our contact information in the chat for you. I also saw that Joe Wyman's on the call. He's our Connecting Activities lead at DESE. I'm also happy to put you in touch with him, or maybe he'll put his contact information in the chat. And he can point you in the right direction of who in your region at your MassHire board is, the right person to call. And from there, MassHire staff will then put you in touch with, the career readiness coordinator at your school or district. But either way, myself, Joe, we can put you in touch with the right folks to get connected on that.
Thank you. It's great to have help when you're learning your way around a sometimes unfamiliar new landscape.
Mm-hmm.
We also, and I see Joe already popped his email into the chat. That's awesome. So we have a question about the teacher externship opportunities, and I know that how to build teacher buy-in and teacher capacity to really step into roles that are sometimes quite different than what our teacher prep programs get teachers ready to do. Sometimes it's a big shift in taking on innovation career pathways courses or other things happening in schools to prepare students for these kinds of college and career readiness courses and experiences. So I'm guessing that you think about teacher externships as one way to do that. And the question is asking, how do teachers find out about externship opportunities? Do they seek to create them themselves? And this is coming from John Flynn and Wareham, where they have an environmental life science designation.
Great. Yeah, so we have a flyer, a teacher externship flyer and an application that we update annually, of course. And we do use Connecting Activities resources to provide teachers with a teacher externship stipend. And I send the teacher externship flyer and application out through our career readiness coordinators at the beginning of each school year. And I'm happy to share the link to our flyer and application so folks can take a look at it. But I filter everything, as Tara mentioned, she gets emails from me all the time. I filter teacher externship and career readiness project information because we do have a pot of funding that we provide teachers if they want to come up with a great, career readiness project that will remain sustainable for years to come. We provide them with $500 in seed funding. So I provide those applications to our career readiness coordinators at the beginning of the school year. I also provide it to superintendents and principals and vice principals to make them aware that we have funding, for the year. And from there, we ask our career readiness coordinators and college and career team members and administration to then forward the applications and information onto their faculty district-wide. And we encourage, K through 12 educators to participate in externships because it's great when we get high school teachers that want to participate, but it's even more so cool when we get elementary school teachers because the younger, we can start to get, our students exposed to this stuff. The more important it is. So yes, we filter everything through school administration, career readiness coordinators, and from there it gets out to our entire school faculty countywide.
That's great. Thank you. And that reminds me of something I wanted to loop back to. Tara, you were talking about the role of MyCap, and I think that's such a helpful thing to highlight at this stage when schools are thinking about their launch year and how to have MyCap and Innovation Career Pathways integrate with each other and support each other. And I wondered whether in Lennox you were thinking of doing or already doing any MyCap activities at the middle school level?
Yes, we are. So our Strategies for Success course starts in 6th grade. So every 6th grader has a series of classes, and then they progress in 7th grade, 8th, and 9th. So they have 4 years of strategies, and within that is a lot of sort of the MyCap, SEL, really work readiness training and all, at whatever developmental level they are at. So yeah, we started really early. We thought it was never too early to start that education. And it's actually, we were lucky though, we had the support of our administration. When we were thinking pathways, we created this course itself, we made as a real integral part of Innovation Pathway. And we wanted to start in middle school as ideally you would do. And that's where we began with that program. So we did have it in existence, but it wasn't until we were approved and saw what we needed to do that we were able to then just identify it. And Heather was a big help with that, trying to just identify what we needed to do. And we are doing this one piece, but we're maybe missing some other pieces. So yeah, middle school is important for us. And so by 9th grade, that's when we this sort of the end of their track with Strategies for Success, but they're then picking a pathway, hopefully.
Yeah, so that was going to be my follow-up question, was to ask how you see that Strategies for Success course functioning both for student recruitment, but also I'm curious about family engagement, how you're messaging your work to families and using that to bolster student enrollment.
Well, fortunately, the teacher who teaches that class is our business pathway sort of representative, or she's the teacher that really engages all the students early, starting in 6th grade, all the way through 9th, and gets families involved. She does a lot of, even outside of what Pathways even requires, but involves students, even if they're no longer in her strategies class. She has this really great way of building community. So she works with a lot of the parents. They do community service through her programs. And so within that, parents are involved to the extent of supporting the students, but also we created this past year, actually, Heather, again, we did a summer training where we built a parent, we call them parent career specialist. So basically we opened up the entire school community, K through 12, asking for, do any parents want to represent their careers to our students? We were looking for our 2 pathways, targeting those areas. But with that, we ended up getting, every industry, obviously. So those parents, our teacher, her name is Heather McNeese, she has invited parents in to do various presentations about their career, or she does a lot of mock interviews, things. So we're trying to utilize our parents as partners, using their professional experience within our student body and our curriculum. So I probably didn't explain that very well, but
yeah, that was great, Tara. Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you. Okay, I'm taking a look at the chat. Please feel free to put any questions that you want to ask Tara or Heather into the chat. And fairly shortly, we're going to move into some of our upcoming events and sharing our new website with you. But the opportunity to put a question in the chat remains open as long as we are together this afternoon. We really try to bring the expertise of practitioners from the field into our webinars and workshops as much as possible, and this has been no exception from the really high quality and truly practical advice that comes from the field. So many thanks to both of you for taking the time to prepare and present today. I know I speak for the whole crowd when I share gratitude for your work. Whoops, that went a little bit faster than I thought, but that's okay. Let's talk about what is upcoming in our community of practice. So in terms of the annual cycle of events and coaching and professional learning communities that we offer, we are coming close to the end of that annual cycle, and the point where we hold a workshop at the end of May for prospective applicants. So you may be thinking, I don't want to hear about that because we've just made it through the application cycle. But in fact, there is content that is part of this workshop, which will again highlight expertise from the field. We'll have a team of guest presenters from Reading Memorial High School joining us to talk about their pathway design and planning and launch process. And that is content that could be very helpful for those of you who are getting ready to launch your newly designated pathways in the 24-25 school year. So that one is posted and ready for registration on our website. And of course, if you know of colleagues in the field who are thinking about applying for designation, or if your school situation is that you're thinking about adding a pathway, this is also an opportunity to get the latest information about the upcoming year's application cycle. That's the 29th of May, 9 to 10:30 in the morning on Zoom. Every year we do a network survey. This is in addition to the event surveys that we share per each workshop that we hold. The annual survey is an opportunity to reflect on all of the programming, and this audience is especially important to us that we learn how effectively and we are serving you as the application cohort for the year. So please watch your email for the survey. We really want your feedback both to better serve next year's application cohort and to offer events and resources that will support you in your launch year and beyond. So before the close of this school year, we hope to be able to provide you with a forecast, including a calendar that will highlight the webinars, workshops, professional learning communities, program spotlights, site visits, office hours, and other offerings that we will have. So we want you to ensure that everyone on your school's team, both school employees as well as external partners working on your pathways, are signed up for our listserv. And speaking of signing up for the listserv, we are very pleased to share with you a new and improved maicp.org. Allison has put the link in the chat, and I would encourage you to click right through to it now. If you have spent any time on our previous website, which was Google site that had its limitations, we hope that you will really enjoy exploring the new and improved website that we are launching today. We are grateful to DESE for the funding that enabled us to work with a very professional web developer based in Lowell, Tomo360. They did a terrific job in helping us revamp this site so that it can really support this growing initiative across the state. And I want to highlight a couple of features that are in the new and improved categories on the website. So the website had a resource library, also known as a toolkit. It was not always easy to find what you needed in that in the old website, and what you will find now is a really robust resource library, which is searchable by keyword. You have the option to browse the resource library in full, or you also have the option to select where you are in the process. If you're brand new to Innovation Career Pathways and just seeking to learn more, there is a landing page curated with resources for you. If you're in the application process, Part A or Part B, there's a landing page for you and for designees. And then the resources are also now able to be filtered. You can filter by the industry sector. You can filter by the guiding principles that you're familiar with because you utilize them in your application process, or by the type of resource. So everything, including the event resources, now enables you to search and filter and hopefully get easy access to resources that you want to use or share with colleagues in your Pathways work. We've also improved the frequently asked questions guide, and it is organized by category, has an acronym translator. I don't think it has SAC in there, but it is easier to use than before. And then in terms of new features on the website, we've added an Our Impact page, and this really is emblematic of the growth of the initiative. Where we have reports where there have been research studies validating beneficial outcomes for students in terms of college enrollment and persistence when they are participating in innovation career pathways. We also use that page to share videos, promotional materials, press releases that tell your stories of growth and success, and we want to add more to that. So if you have event resources, press releases, other kinds of materials that capture the power of innovation career pathways in your school, please share them with us. We really want this website to become an extension of the community that we've built through these events online and in person. And therefore, the new website includes a portal feature. So it's not live yet, but very soon, if you're on our listserv, you will get an email that will invite you to sign up for the portal. And in that portal, you will be able to connect with colleagues in the network across the state. And there's a chat board function. There's the opportunity to bookmark and save resources from the resource library. And we really believe that this will be just another way for your for the benefits to your students and your pathways to grow.
Great. The New York Stock Exchange was then evacuated, as well as
so I'm going to take a look back at the chat and just see if there are any other questions that have come up. Thank you for the love for the new website. We appreciate it. As I mentioned, we use a SurveyMonkey survey at the end of every event because it enables us to capture your feedback about your experience at today's workshop. And Allison has put that link into the chat. We're way ahead of schedule, which is a little bit unusual, honestly. But please use that time to click this link right now and give us feedback while your thoughts are fresh. We know that the needs and interests of this community of practice are diverse. And so telling us what is working and not working for you via these surveys is the way that we can continue to try to meet your needs. These surveys are anonymous, and if you complete the survey afterwards, you have an opportunity to give your email, enter a raffle, and at the end of the school year, we will draw winners from raffle entries that come from all of the events across the year. So as I mentioned, we're kind of coming to the end of the cycle. If you want to have an opportunity to get your name in the raffle for the first time or for again, please go ahead and fill out the survey now and then put your email in for the raffle after that. I know this is a time of day when folks may have to be moving on. So we will stick around for a few minutes, but if you are ready to sign off, We congratulate you again on your designations. We look forward to continuing to support the growth and development of your pathways. And we look forward to seeing you at another Innovation Career Pathways event in the near future. Thank you so much and have a great afternoon.